You will never see 300 episodes. I once said to me, well, guess what? Shut up, negative talk. I am here. This is episode 300. Honestly, I didn't think I'd get past 20. I thought I'd be begging people to be on the podcast and not want to have intellectual conversations about self actualization, self discovery, understanding, um, mental health, even, and different unique ways to look at shit that's not of the norm because of our divergent, non-linear brain thinking. A lot of stuff that's interesting to us or how we see things is not the social norm. And for us to find like brain people that can understand and want to look at the various things at various angles all at the same time, not one angle at a time. This is what I wanted to create with the podcast. And from the listeners and people interacting with me, I've created that. And if it wasn't for you, the listeners, there would be no episode 300. And before I get too far, before I forget, there's this, you, the listener, I really thank you. Some of you are reaching out. Some of you are reaching out to me on LinkedIn. Some are starting to reach out on YouTube. Even emails. I love receiving those emails and sharing the stories and what resonates with you. So thank you very much for taking the time and for listening and for letting me into your world and let me yammer and talk about different things that are fun. And you know what? Honestly, I didn't think people would give a shit, but people do. And this is a lot more for me than you, the listener, because this has really helped with my self confidence, my self respect, and and I'm hoping that that's doing the same for you. Oh yeah, I was thanking people. So you, the listener, so thank you very much. Nicole Solitar was strategic coach. She's really the reason I actually started because she told me, if you don't start the podcast soon or now, I'm not working with you again. If there's anyone strategic coach calling, that was not a threat from her. It was just, her to she knows how I work and how to motivate me. So um, we're saying that with tongue in cheek, but yeah, that's what it was, and we got it started. And I really appreciate. And she was in episode 101, and now 299, and she will be there for episode 500. We'll make it a more special 500 episode with her involved. So yeah, this is all about self-discovery, entrepreneurship, the ADHD brain, how it's not a disorder, how it's not, we don't have symptoms, they're just unmanaged strengths, how we're misunderstood by the world and they will never understand us and they'll never change to value us. So getting a community together that understands and hears that other people are feeling the same. That's what I wanted to create. So right now I'm looking at the outline of episode 1 that I did with Nicole. And the key feature here is, and I actually wrote out the structure, the plan I wanted for the podcast with certain, non-acceptables and criteria I wanted to follow. And the one is, I want the listeners to hear that they are not alone, and I'm able to help them gain clarity with self-awareness so they can build freedom to be themselves and improve their success and be happy with their success. That was in the first notes for episode 1. Yes, I keep everything. Thank God we got electronics, so we got less. Anyways, tangent. The one thing I noticed here, I've been following the same structure of the podcast since episode 1. The main key points I wrote down are still valid. The only thing I would add is the mental health aspect is an importance. So that's been an addition. I haven't really taken anything out of the general structure. As long as I'm learning, you're learning. And I want to learn new things, not the typical stuff or the stereotypical stuff. And I'm very tired of people making fun or other ADHD coaches just still going with the stereotypical ADHD symptoms, and this is how it is, and laugh at it. There's nothing to laugh about. It is what it is, and this is what we're going to do to move forward. And all it is a brain difference. Our brains are wired differently, and they work differently for different reasons, and we just need to find what our unique reason is and follow that. Not everyone's going to accept us. That's fine. there's a lot of people out there that do, and will respect that, ADHD brain or not. So that was the framework. And why I got to 300 is another reason. That was the whole point of me bringing up the notes from episode 1 was I've been consistent because I was following my structure. I created a structure at the beginning, how we're going to schedule people on, track it, invite people, and just get that conversation going right to post and launching the episode. And we've been doing that consistently, and I don't have to think too much about it because it's such a good structure. It's repetitive, and we're doing it. And with a couple of goals is I always want to have at least 3 to 4 episodes in the can so that I don't have to catch up. Because if I get into catch up mode, then the content is desperation now, and we're not getting really good interviews and that, or I don't feel good about it. And that's not good. So having these personal rules and barriers and non-negotiables and is really good. And it creates the habits that we need. So we got the environment. So I've created a nice little podcast environment. Problem is I got too much to say, too much I want to share. So I got the YouTube channel as well. You can see me at the Impulsive Thinker there. Same thing, more rants, but more ways of how some to-dos I've overcome some of the difficulties. So as long as we're consistent and follow my structure, it's going well. Now, Nicole did ask, what was the big thing I learned about all this? Well, I didn't realize it till this short. So I learned a big thing back there. But the big thing that I learned is just do it and start. That is what I learned. Just the next big scary thing or the next big goal, just do it, start. And once I made that first recording, next thing I know, we're at 300. But it took a long time to hit record on that first one. That's episode 2, the first short that I did. So if you're ever finding yourself stagnating, floundering, just start. First step. We can't figure it all out. Our time blindness has a lot to do with that. We get into an overwhelm because the execution part's not figured out. Sometimes just taking the first step and trying and going, it's amazing how that initiates a huge momentum because that inertial stuckness is massive. But just do it and start. So having said that, this is coming out in August of 2024 for episode 300, just on the coattails or the front step or whatever you want to use that analogy or common term. But season 3 is coming up. Man, no, season 3 is finishing right now. Woo! Season 4 is coming up soon. Wow, season 4. So season 4 is coming up, and I would like to hear from you. Any ideas, that any topics or conversations or people that you want to hear on the podcast, please send me an email, André at theimpulsivethinker.com, or put something in the comments below, an idea, either on your podcast, leave a review, share with friends, but let me know via comments, reviews, ideas that you would like to hear on the podcast. And again, I would not be here if it wasn't for you, the listener, or now the viewer, if you're watching on YouTube. So thank you for both of you. But if it wasn't for you, there'd be no reason for me to want to learn more. And because I'm learning, you're learning. And because of that, I thank you for learning with me. So we'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you.